Welcome to Beardy, Bruce Lee Central.
Hey everybody, it's Birdie here. What's going on, guys? Okay, so this is one of those once in a million type situations where the guy in the picture, the photo that you're looking at right now, the guy that is fighting Bruce Lee, contacted us and gave us this story here. And the guy wants to remain anonymous. He doesn't want his information out there, and I totally respect that. But it did give us permission to share this story. And man, oh man, is this a cool story. So a big shout out to this guy. Thank you for contacting us, and thank you for sharing your story with us. I mean, a lot of these stories are disappearing, guys. Okay? It's been 50, 60, 70 years now, and a lot of these stories are disappearing. And thankfully, we have this large channel here that reaches out to millions around the world. And we are so lucky to be getting these stories from people all over the world, from the United States, from Hong Kong, from everywhere. And I'm able to share them with you. So a big shout out to this guy, and thank you for sharing your story. Okay, so what happened here? So this guy was a karate student, a heavyweight karate student in the Seattle area. And he had heard that Bruce Lee had opened a Kung Fu school in the neighborhood. So he went to check it out, and he talked to Bruce Lee. And Bruce Lee gave him information about Kung Fu and offered him to join his class. So the guy said that, okay, I'm going to think about it. And he left. And a few weeks later, he came back again, and he wanted even more information. And this time he said to Bruce, I'm contemplating switching from karate to Kung Fu, but I'm not sure yet. So Bruce Lee gave him more information, and the guy said, okay, I'm going to think about it. And he left. So a few weeks passed by, and this time this guy shows up, and he issues Bruce Lee with a challenge. He says, Bruce, I want to have a fight. Now, this karate guy, he was an active karate dude, okay? So he was in karate tournaments all over the country, the United States. So he was a legit fighter, okay? He was the senior student at his school. So I'm guessing he was a black belt. That doesn't say much because anyone can get a black belt, but I'm guessing he was a senior black belt at the school, and he was probably the top student of the school. So he issued this challenge to Bruce Lee, and basically Bruce Lee just laughed it off and said, "Okay, kid, go back home." And yeah, so he left. And he came back the next day, and he issued the same challenge. And Bruce Lee said no again. And this guy was persistent. He didn't give up. He came frequently to Bruce Lee's school and issued the same challenge. And eventually, Bruce Lee got tired and asked the guy, why do you want to fight me? What's the reason? And the guy said, I want to fight you because I want to make sure that if I switch from karate to Kung Fu, that it's worth it, that Kung Fu is better than karate, okay? So he said that I've had tons of fights with my karate instructor, my teacher, tons of sparring fights with him, and I want to measure my skills and my power and my speed against you, against Kung Fu. I've never fought or sparred against anyone in Kung Fu, so you'll be the first one. And Bruce Lee said, finally, okay, let's have a fight. But these are the rules, okay? Because Bruce Lee knew he could dismantle this guy in a couple of seconds. It wasn't even close. But Bruce Lee said, this is what we're going to do. You're going to wear protective gear on you, and I'm not going to wear protective gear. I'm not going to even use my hands. So no hands, just kicking, and you're going to be wearing protective gear. And the guy says, well, why? I mean, that's not fair. why am I wearing protective headgear? And Bruce Lee said, you have to wear protective headgear because if you don't, I'm gonna send your head spinning to another dimension. Okay? That's why you have to wear protective headgear. So the guy agrees, and they go back to Bruce Lee's backyard and they have a fight. And Danny Dos Santos there taking pictures. And the picture you're looking at, the first picture you're looking at, is the picture that the guy sent me. That's his picture. And I mean, he said that basically the fight was over before it began. Bruce Lee just completely rocked this guy. He clocked him so many times in the head. He felt shell shocked, and he just had to capitulate after a couple of minutes. Uh, so yeah, there you go, guys. Bruce Lee with no hands, just kicking, versus this karate student with protective gear. And he said that not before or not ever since has he felt that kind of power that he felt from Bruce that day. So this guy said that he's been active in martial arts competitions his whole life, and he's never before or since felt the power that he felt from Bruce Lee that day. He said that it felt like, and I'm quoting this guy, it felt like I wasn't even wearing protective headgear. It just felt like I was being kicked directly from Bruce Lee. It felt like I was wearing absolutely nothing. So there you go, guys. This karate student ended up joining Bruce Lee's class. He gave up karate for good. And actually, he became one of Bruce Lee's top students. So there you go, guys. A big shout out to this guy for giving us this story. Thanks a bunch for sharing this story with us. And thank you guys for watching. See you guys later. Bye.